Yeah, I know you. It is literally 12 degrees outside, and you still plan to get on your motorcycle and go out riding. Well, that's okay. We got this. All right, let's go ahead and jump right in. What I'm going to do here is just show you the gear I use throughout the year in different weather conditions. And I'll go ahead and put some chapter links below, and that way you can jump to any of the items that you see down there. Okay, so we'll start here with my summer/spring jacket. Actually, I wear this thing anywhere from say 80, 90 degrees all the way down to say maybe 40 degrees. It's a Tourmaster Jet Series 3, and I've had this thing for I'd say 2-3 years, and it's probably the jacket that I wear most these days. So one thing I like about it is that all of the pockets and enclosures have a nice big tassel that you can grab to zip them up. Everything's Velcro or zippers. The front opening is a zipper, and not only does it have that, but it has this sort of interlocking flap system, and you can see you can Velcro the flap down the front, and that way no wind gets in. So it's good in the rain, good in the sun, and good when it starts to get a little cold. So you can see here you got a quilted liner inside, zips from the left to the right, and when it starts to get a little bit warm, you go ahead and unzip that, you take it out, and that combined with the airflow that this thing has, you stay pretty cool. As long as you're moving, you're staying pretty cool during the summertime. So you've got some good back padding there, big pad that covers most of the back, and you got armor on the shoulders and on the elbow. You got armor, you got that padding in the back. And then I was talking about the airflow. So on each arm, along the front and around the back, you've got vents that you can open up. And nice little touch here, it's got the Velcro fasteners. So I'm sure you've seen guys going down the highway at 80 miles an hour and their big balloon coat is just flapping in the wind. Well, this lets you kind of cinch that down. And as I mentioned, you got cell phone pockets for pretty much everything. Just zip them up, Velcro them shut, and you're guaranteed not to lose anything on the highway. And as I mentioned, every good quality motorcycle jacket should have venting, and it's usually right across the back there. So moving right along, this is my expert, what they call a Brando jacket, or sometimes a police jacket. And these things go back to like the early 1900s, I think 1920, something like that, when they made the first one. Of course, the 1950s, Brando made them famous in the Wild Bunch. But this one's a little updated. As you can see, it's got the elbow and shoulder armor. It's got a little pocket in the front here, and actually that's the venting, so it's pretty shallow. So if you're gonna put something in there, you gotta zip it up, but it's still pretty nice to have it there anyway. This little utility area, as they call it, has probably about a dozen little compartments in there, and of course you can zip it or open up the flap and use that as venting as well if you want. All right, so let's talk about the rest of the venting. On the sleeves, you got 2 vents, and of course you can zip it down so it's a tight fit around your wrists and you don't get the wind blowing up there. And the same thing, I'd say I wear this thing down to like 36 degrees, down to freezing level. And when the weather starts to warm up, you can take out that quilted liner once again. You got your gun pocket, as they used to call it for the police back in the day. And as I mentioned, flip that around and you've got your back vent. So we talked about the cold days and the freezing days, but when you start getting below freezing, close to zero, you're going to want heated gear. And I went with the Gordon's heated clothing system. Made right here in Washington State, so they're local, American made. And starts off with this jacket liner. The idea is you take out your lining in your own jacket and you replace it with this. And when it starts to get cold, just go ahead and plug it in and you stay nice and toasty. So, what do I like about this so much? Why did I pay extra? I tell you, it's the attention to detail, like these little pockets for all the cabling. You can hide all the cabling away in a little secret compartment. And then when the day gets cold, you just go ahead and unzip them and you're ready to plug in your gloves, your pants liners, your shoe liners. They have all kinds of things. Now, another thing is some of the cheaper stuff has wires every few inches, and you get hot and cold spots that way. Parts too hot, parts too cold. But this has a mesh of wires all throughout the sleeves, all up and down, the front and back, even the neck. There are no cold spots. It's nice to have pockets for when you wear it as a jacket. That's another nice touch. But let's go ahead and talk about the cabling. So you've got one cable here for your lower body, pants, shoes, whatever, and then a couple of color-coded cables that attach to your temp controller here. So it's a no-look system. You got these huge buttons. You don't have to look down. You just, by feel, press up 5 times for the max temp, and then 5 clicks down turns the temperature down until it's finally off. One in plugs into your bike, and the other 2 plug into those cables on the jacket I was showing you. And you can see it's kind of stiff. It's hard to pull apart, which can be kind of tricky if you forget to unplug it when you walk away. But it doesn't come loose easily. As I mentioned, it's got a belt clip, and you can actually remove this from that case. And you know, there's a million ways people come up with for connecting this to their bike. Put magnets on it and a magnet on your bike, Velcro, but that opens up and you can take it out of there if you want. So what do I do about my hands? Well, I've got probably 6 pairs of gloves, but when it gets really cold, I'll go ahead and use these deerskin electric gloves. They're also by Gordon's Heated Clothing. And these are the best gloves I ever had. They're soft. You can actually feel the controls through the gloves a little. They fit snug on your hands, but they're loose at the wrist and up the arm. So that way you can slip your jacket sleeves down inside the gloves and then cinch it up tight, and you don't get any air blowing up into your arm. Great gloves, man. Kind of expensive, like I said, but the wiring goes all the way up to the fingertips, the palms, the back of your hand. There's no cold spots. And it plugs right into that jacket. It's all a system. So, once it's down like freezing and below, you're going to need something for your legs unless it's just a short little hop. But for a long ride in the cold, even 30, 40 degrees, I wear my old school Gerbing pants. Now these things are ancient. In fact, the cabling on it doesn't even fit that jacket without an adapter. But there is an adapter. They've got pockets that go all the way down, halfway down your thigh. They're big enough to fit over any pants or boots that you want. They zip up halfway from the floor to the knees so you can fit them over your biggest boots. And then they Velcro tight around your ankle. These things are great. In fact, they're so thick I rarely even plug them in, but my bike does have the connector. And they're great. So, everybody thinks about motorcycle boots. Well, don't forget the boot socks. I usually wear wool socks, merino wool if I can find them, because they hold heat, they shed heat when it's hot. I've got thin ones, I got thick ones, and then I got super long, thick ones for the cold. And these are by Carhartt, and these are definitely my winter riding socks. Not only do they keep the heat in, but they don't stay wet. They actually shed the moisture so that your boots aren't funky when you take them off. I highly recommend these. They're cushy, comfortable, and warm. So what do I do for boots? I've got about 10, maybe 12 pair of Doc Martens, and I like these because the soles are oil resistant. And as you know, when you stop at a light, there's always an oil spot right in the middle of the road. So I've got dress pair, I got everyday pair, I got these work boots with steel toes and ankle support, heel support. And I like these because the sole is so thick that if there's a little snow on the ground and it hasn't frozen, I might go ahead and ride and I can stomp down in there with those thick soles. Alright, so once again, when it's really cold, I'll wear one of these baklavas, also called ninja masks, and they cover your entire head, your chin, your neck. Just leave your eyes out. And here is the helmet I use most of the winter. It's a Scorpion XO 1100, and the good thing about this is the venting is great. You've got air openings in the front and the back, right there at your mouth level to bring the air in, and then around the back you got a vent to let the air out. And most important, all good helmets should have what's called a pin lock. It lets you lock the visor open just a little bit. So even when you close the visor, it lets a little bit of air in and stops your faceplate from steaming up. Well, that's it for part 1 of my winter riding series. Part 2 is going to cover winter maintenance and the pre-ride check you should do before every single ride. We'll finish up with part 3, where I'll cover riding techniques and how you can actually ride all year long and still keep safe out there. So if you like this video, do me a big favor and hit the thumbs up button below. Hit subscribe to get more. And as always, thanks for watching.